Hi viewers, welcome to N0T TV, a home for great and adequate news from all around the world. Now to the news. No border reopening until Benin orders respect protocol. Federal government. The federal government of Nigeria admitted on Wednesday that its temporary policy to close land borders was responsible for the current rising inflation in the country. But it is still defended the closure, insisting that it will remain in place until the country's neighbors learn to respect trade protocols. The federal government said it had to close borders because Nigeria could not continue to subsidize the economy of her neighbors. Nigeria had in August closed its land borders on the ground that smuggling of goods from its neighboring countries were hurting its economy. On November 4, the federal government lifted 5 conditions. On November 4, the federal government listed 5 conditions for reopening the country's land borders. As one of the conditions, the government said Nigeria will not accept imported goods that were repackaged by neighboring countries and brought to Nigeria. But since the border closure, headlines inflation rose to 11.61% as of October from the 11.24% recorded in September. On Wednesday, Ahmed told State House correspondents that inflation rose due to hike in food prices, rising from the closure of the borders. She was responding to questions after Wednesday's Federal Executive Council meeting ended in Abuja. The FEC meeting was presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. However, the minister stated that the border closure was a temporary measure adopted by the government to protect the economy against trade malpractices by neighboring countries and will be reopened when all of Nigerians' demands were met. She gave details on inflation's headline. Inflation declined every month for several months before we noticed at a peak in the last 2 months. And now headlines inflation is at about 11.61% as of the end of October. The slight increase in this inflation between September and October is due to food inflation. The food inflation relates to prices of cereal, rice, and fish, and part of the reason is the border closure. But the border closure is very, very short and temporarily, and the increase is just about 2 basic points. Remember, there was a time inflation was 9% and it grew to about 18% in January 2017 when we were in recession. The relationship between inflation, interest rate, and growth is managed by the monetary authority and is a management that is tracked on a regular basis. So if you reduce interest rate, you expect more borrowing for investment in the real sector. But at the same time that that also has the tendency of reducing money that is used for consumption on a day-to-day basis. So it is a balance that we continue to watch on a regular basis. We expect that this will be moderated as border closure impact fuse out, and as the monetary authority continue to support the MPR monetary policy rate, therefore ensuring that interest rates are not on the high side. Ahmed insisted that the government had little choice but to shut the borders, else Nigeria will suffer the economic consequences, especially now that the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement was coming into effect. What we are doing is important for our economy. We signed up to the ACFTA. We have to make sure that we put in place checks to make sure that our economy will not be overrun as a result of the coming into effect of the ACFTA. That is why we have this border closure, to return to the discipline of respecting the protocol that we all committed to, the minister added. On this part, the Minister of Information and Culture, Mr. Lai Mohammed, explained that the giant of the border closure outweigh any other impact it might have caused, adding that Nigeria was subsidizing the rest of West Africa. He urged that the practice of importing goods into neighboring West African countries and repackaging them for Nigeria to look as if they were manufactured in such country was not healthy for Nigeria's economy. Mohammed disclosed that up till Tuesday this week, Nigeria and its neighbors were still engaged in discussion on why it was important for all the parties to respect the ECOWAS trade protocol on trans of goods. He said, the border closure, frankly speaking, is what we needed to do, and we had to do it. We cannot continue to subsidize the rest of West Africa, and the benefit for border closure for me, I think, far surpasses the very little increase in inflation. We have been able to save about 30% from our fuel consumption, which means that over time we have been subsidizing the fuel consumption of other countries. Within the last 3 months, we have been able to increase by 15% duties collected from imports. Within the same period, we have been able to drastically reduce the volume of arms and ammunition that have been coming into the country through smuggling ditto with drugs. All Nigeria is saying is, please let's respect the protocol on trans. ECOWAS set up a protocol on trans of goods, which is very simple. If a container meant for Nigeria is dropped in Cotonou, the authority in Benin Republic should escort the container to the custom in semi border, and that way proper duty will be levied and will be paid. But on the contrary, what we have seen happening over the years is that our neighbors will put about 5 containers on one truck and drive them to the border as if it is only one container that they are going to pay duties on. Worse still, less than even 50% of what it meant for Nigeria will come through the approved border. Well, in all this, I think I will agree with the issue of the arm and the ammunitions, because a lot of illegal arms and ammunition have been coming into Nigeria through all these borders. That I will agree with, that they are doing a good job about that. But in terms of the inflation, I mean, they should try and balance it up. You cannot say because you want to close the border and your people will begin to suffer. You know, they said it themselves here that rice is becoming gold in Nigeria. You know, and that is a common man's food. That is that is all we know to eat in Nigeria. You know, so I think they should rethink and to really find a way quickly to resolve this matter, because the suffering is just too much. People are really suffering. It is good, they want to do some good about it, to control some stuff, but they should think and find a means and a way to make sure that they reopen the border quickly as possible. And what do you think about this particular news? Kindly leave your message, give your comments. Let us see what you think. Let's reason together. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like our channel if you're yet to do so. But if you have done so, we say a very big thank you.